if you begin to have internal problems due to, let's say, toxic buildup in your environment messing you up. Man, this is hot. Oh, it's starting to get right there. I think the plane's coming. And my little brain fog. You don't feel it. You don't feel it. You know, the yes we can, sir, can you know, establish itself and get fully seated in and start replicating its form into the environment long time before you notice anything. And that's, I think, is by design. That's, you know, something being done to us on purpose. It explains why so many people don't get checked or know anything about their yes we can, sir, until it's almost too late or too late, right? And then the treatments they have for it retarded. Sorry, people with Down syndrome, I don't mean you. Yeah, okay, so I'm sick, I'm frail, my health is fading, my energy is down, I got this discolorations, my hair is turning white. You have cancer. What? Oh, well, let's take some radioactive poison that's going to kill my immune system, because that's the last thing I need right now is an immune system. We need to get rid of that, and maybe it'll kill the cancer, too. The cancer that is technically, and this is not a incorrect usage, Google, Yahoo, YouTube bot, is that, what the fuck was I saying now? Airplane approaching. Yeah, tastes salty too. Sweating a bit. Never had gigantic bulging veins before, ever. Of course, sitting like this kind of brings it on some, but ever. Until I started having Morgellons problems. First thing I noticed was these huge bulging veins that just throbbed along with the things in my wrists, and the knob thing, and the pain, and eventually the bugs forming spontaneously out of what looked like a little dust node on my arm, as I just stared at it and watched it for 10-15 minutes until it sprouted wings and flew away. That was great. True story. Now, whether it was a hallucination or not, well, obviously, that's just up to your understanding of science, because, right, any science not, fully understood by another is akin to magic or witchcraft. So, I think it's perfectly possible. I can think of a way in which it might be possible for something like that to happen. It's logical. And it's also along the lines of the patents that have been filed for technologies that have been worked out and reported on that exist. So it's not really a conspiracy theory or speculation. It's more of like a question of, could this scientific thing that has been established as a possibility be the cause of what I'm experiencing? Because they're not, the government and whatever, they are not supposed to be experimenting on us theoretically, right? I think they can due to the Geneva Convention, though. Because prior to the Geneva Convention, you could attack the civilians directly. Supposedly, everything I say that is a law or a rule that we have is with a big heavy clause hanging on it. Supposedly, it may not even be a thing, but we're told it is. So anyway, woo, it's getting warm in here. So anyway, I'm just rambling on because I feel like I gotta fill the time with something that I'm sharing with the 12 people who will watch this, or at least listen to it. You don't gotta watch it, really. Salt on my eye. It's airplane 30. I'm gonna have to do some counting. Count how many airplanes fly over. One airplane. Heck. Whoa, this motherfucker is freaking hot. And connected to the earth ground. Key. Every bit of my skin is in contact with the wonderful ground source that is our earthen womb. Here's what we came from. I love you. So, little waterfall going on there. Just one airplane so far? I thought it was airplane 30. I bet another one comes soon. I'm starting to get the, itchiness along the red lines at my shoulder, right in this area, for sure. It's not fogged up. And so I guess I'm gonna have to end this right now, or maybe I should just set it over here and perhaps it'll go until it decides to let up. Whew. It's getting foggier in here too. That's something I noticed as the airplane activity increases and my Morgellons issues increase. The water seems to start to exude more steam. And this ties into a phenomenon I noticed on Dan's property 4 or 5 years ago when I was there, and that would be the well pump running, because I was out at the hose for several months one winter, and at least 2 to 3 times a night, as the continuous every 1 minute and 22 seconds jetliner flies slowly over the neighborhood, and every neighborhood for that matter, because you look north and look south and there's another jetliner about a half a mile away doing the same thing, and beyond it another half a mile there's another one, and beyond it another half a mile there's another one. So they didn't all fly side by side in a big long line, and they weren't spraying anything either. This is the key. They sprayed plenty, but these ones weren't necessarily spraying anything. And pretty much they looked like Delta. They had the blue oval bottom on them and white windows, of course, and like a passenger flight. And I started wondering, why would you get on a flight to Portland, presumably, and then when you're just about at Portland, which is where you would be at Trout Lake, or possibly Rooster Rock area, that's where they come over the river at. Well, all they got to do is, if their path was slightly different, they could come in to the south side of the airport and do their U-turn way up high and come in and land, but they don't. They come in slow and low, like stall speed slow, which takes more fuel dispelled over the residential areas in order to keep you jet at, just above stall speed. Because they're loud, and they're at 1,200 feet. I mean, tops maybe 15, but probably 12. And one after another, all night, all day, all night, all day, weeks on an end before. And I pointed out to people, and they'd, yeah, nobody notices anything. And that's also, about when I really started to notice the small planes, because obviously it can't have that level of air traffic over residential homes at low altitude continuously, indefinitely, or anybody eventually is going to start waking up. Even the complete brain dead are going to start to wonder what the hell's going on. I mean, even if you took the best, highest estimate of traffic through PDX, it is nowhere near what this level of airplane traffic would, necessitate. But I digress, nonstop. And that's when I started to notice the smaller planes too, because it would stop for a while, and then I feel pretty good. Heck, I'd almost feel like I was going back to normal if they didn't fly mysteriously for a day or two, like when Obama came to town on the stump in 2007 or something like that. And that's 7, I think it was. Anyway, I noticed there was no spray for 3 days, no airplanes on it. But the day he left, the little private plane, the propeller-driven, diesel-powered one. I got the world's slowest airplane. Look at me. I'm gonna fly slowly over town in circles because life's a journey, not a destination. That guy showed up and flew in circles slowly over us because he was having fun flying his private plane. I'm sure he just fills up the tank every morning, jumps in, and I'm gonna fly like the dickens today. Does it all day long, lands, gets up the next morning, does it again, every single day. Nothing better in the world than flying an airplane. That's what's going on, right? I've also heard people who know talking about government contracts to pilots, and it helps them get their hours for their next license, but it can get them started in the small planes, and they give them a flight path, and that's their job, is to fly the flight path that they're also getting their hours from. Now, how they word that and work it, maybe they call it a student loan, maybe they call it a grant, maybe they call it, whatever they want to call it, because their money is unlimited. But if you have a license in the plane, or you probably don't even have to have a plane. If you have a valid pilot's license, they'll hook you up with a plane. And then you can work towards your next license by flying these missions for them. And you don't even have to leave town. Missions are directly over your homes, slowly at low altitude. A lot of airplane work to do. Makes a lot of sense. Let's have a question. Those airplanes, I began to notice the guy that sapped me. I gotta get out from there. Those planes, they began to I began to notice how much they messed me up, because the other planes would stop for a few days, like Obama coming to town, and when they come back again, these little planes would be there, an excessive number of them. I can't imagine that we got, either the same, 3 private pilots who have, small planes, Cubs and Cessnas, the little 2-seater type planes, maybe 4-seater at the most. Guys with those kind of diesel-powered airplanes, I doubt that there's so many of them that have nothing else to do and plenty of dough for fuel that opt to fly their airplanes slowly in circles over town all day, every day. Either that, or there's so much air activity that it's, a different plane each time, and I'm just not aware that, oh, well, these planes are similar, so they kind of sound the same, yada yada, and the ringing in your ears, well, that's a psychological reaction to hearing the airplane coming, because your mind thinks there's something wrong with you, and there's nothing really happening, right? Is that what's happening? Get. Trust your senses, people. Quit taking antihistamines. Deal with the pain. If you're always trying to escape the pain, it will become so overwhelming of a threat and danger to you that you at a certain point you just have to hide all the time and then have psychological issues from that. I think, you have a physical problem for sure, because if you can't tolerate the pain without something to help with it, that can become a problem too, which I'm not saying I'm there either. When I'm really, really bad and I have to move for some particular reason, playing like three times in the last 6 months have I had one single Vicodin. It's like a 50 milligram hydrocodone. And so, and that's fine. It takes the edge off, and I can do what I gotta do as long as I don't hurt myself anymore. It's usually my back or my neck that's the issue. I broke my neck when I was 13 on the snow when I was inner tubing in Alaska. Alaska snow is much faster than Vancouver, Washington snow. Here, even when it's real cold and it snows a lot, your tube tends to plow the snow a little bit. But up there in Alaska, when it's 20 below zero, that don't quite happen so much. And what's underneath that powdery snow is ice. And you slide over it very easily. So my tube went really fast on a small hill, and the jump I made was pretty large. And the tube shot out from under me as I went over the jump, and then my tops of my feet hit the jump as I go over, which started me in a forward tumble, and I skidded on my head. Bounced once. I was okay with the first bounce, but I couldn't correct myself any, and I bounced again, and my head like rolled around. And I'm pretty sure that I basically crushed vertebrae between C1 and C2, or C2 and C3. I think it was between C1 and C2, or it might be C2 and C3. I had a chiropractor here just a few years ago. That's where the injury was. But what also, and no other doctors who've done x-rays or looked at me seem to be able to tell this. Once I really started looking, I could tell. Once it started to be enough of a problem, my head like rolled around. It basically, I'm pretty sure, fractured my collarbone on the right side. So my head went to the right, and like hyperextended the left side. And I was tumbling forward, so my head rolled around as I tumbled to the ground and fractured my sternum with my chin. And then kind of whiplashed it up to the